Also, Asia Wilson is not playing in Unrivaled, much like Caitlin Clark's not. But there's been a story surfaced by way of Sports Business Journal that is baffling, and it is getting absolutely crushed right now.
Did you hear what happened in women's basketball? Caitlin Clark actually turned down $1 million deal. You might be thinking, who would say no to that kind of money? But here's where it gets even more interesting. Wilson quickly stepped in and revealed she was offered an even bigger deal. So now you're probably wondering, what's really going on here? Is there something bigger happening behind the scenes?
But it is delusional to believe that Asia Wilson would have been paid more than Caitlin Clark. And the only people that could possibly believe that are sources close to Asia Wilson.
You're probably wondering, who turns down $1 million? Well, Caitlin Clark just did. A major brand made an offer that most players only dream about: big money and a chance to make a real impact on the game. They weren't holding back. This was their chance to sign the biggest star in women's basketball, and they went all in.
And it has also been reported that Unrivaled 3-on-3 League offered Caitlin Clark significant equity in the league and a salary that is over $1 million. So this is the first time that we've heard of any money being thrown at her. We've heard that it would be a major deal. It would be a similar setup as to what Messi got, but this is the first time that we're hearing anything about money. So obviously it is going to be in the millions.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Caitlin Clark turned it down. Why would the biggest name in the sport walk away from such a golden opportunity? Let's take a closer look at what Unrivaled offered. It wasn't just about the money. They signed her friends, getting Clark the chance to play alongside her college teammates. Plus, they partnered with her favorite brands, making sure she'd feel completely at home.
They have announced Lexi Hall, Kate Martin, and Aaliyah Boston. Now, before this, we had not heard of any Indiana Fever players playing in Unrivaled, and I was kind of under the impression that nobody from the team was going to play in this league.
Unrivaled practically begged her to join, pulling out all the stops to make the offer as appealing as possible. They thought they had it all figured out, but could say no to that. The president even promised there would always be a spot for her down the line. It really showed how desperate they were.
He said, "We're always going to have a roster spot for Caitlin Clark. We are not applying a full court press the way people think. We are letting her decompress from basketball. She knows that we have a spot for her when she's ready."
Caitlin Clark could, and she did. Her decision wasn't about the money. It was about something much bigger. Clark isn't just focused on the next season or the next big paycheck. She's playing the long game.
With sources saying it was 100% her decision and that perhaps she will observe the league from a distance this winter and later sign a 2026 contract. And then I like this quote, actually. In fact, one well-regarded WNBA team executive said, "Unrivaled will help the players who sign up." I love it, and I think it's exactly what we need until the WNBA becomes more than a 4-month.
She wanted a break from basketball to step back and catch her breath after an amazing college career. Can you blame her? Clark is taking time to reflect on all she's accomplished and prepare for her future at the WNBA. She's not rushing into the next big opportunity. She's making sure she's fully ready for what's ahead.
I feel like basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast. And then I came here and was trying to give everything I could to this team and kind of move on and put all that behind me and help this team, get back to the playoffs. So I feel like taking some time to myself and really enjoying that and reflecting back.
Now, you might be wondering what happens when the star player says no. Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Unrivaled thought they had it all figured out, putting all their hopes on Caitlin Clark.
But Caitlin Clark, the pursuit of her was, of course, the biggest story around the league. And one of the lead investors said bringing her in would be the single biggest possible thing.
This isn't just about one player turning down an offer. It's about a shift in power. Clark showed that players can take control of their careers, focusing on their long-term goals rather than chasing quick money. She's setting a new standard for how athletes navigate their paths.
Well, no amount of pulling in Kate Martin, Lexi Hall, or agreeing to State Farm sponsorships.
Let's be honest, this move has everyone talking. Fans are applauding Clark's focus and humility. They see her as a true leader, someone thinking beyond just the next game or season. Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's changing the game off the court too.
And it was like, oh, she's a shooting star. She's a phenom. She drew the people in.
So, what's next? That's the million-dollar question. Unrivaled is left scrambling, trying to figure out their next move, while the basketball world watches closely, wondering if this marks the start of a new era in women's sports. One thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark just changed the game, and now we're all waiting to see what she does next. But here's the twist. Clark wasn't the only one making moves. A'ja Wilson stepped into the spotlight, and her timing was anything but accidental. Just hours after Clark's million-dollar rejection made headlines, Wilson's team dropped a bombshell. They leaked that Unrivaled had offered her even more money than Clark. It was like they were saying, "Oh, you think $1 million is a lot? Well, check this out."
This story smells like bullshit. Now, we all know Caitlin Clark turned the league down, right? Well, this source close to A'ja Wilson is claiming they offered A'ja Wilson more money than Caitlin Clark to play in this league.
Here's the thing, though. Why did Wilson's team feel the need to announce this offer? It's not like Wilson accepted it. She turned it down too. So what was the point? Fans were left scratching their heads, trying to figure out what was really going on. Was it about the money, or was there something else behind the scenes? Wilson said she needed rest, just like Clark. She explained that she wanted to focus on planning for her offseason.
Clark turned it down. A'ja just honestly likes to rest her body. She doesn't want to play year-round. And she's an outlier of where just on pure basketball, it's a 3-on-3 league, it's not a 5-on-5 league, and it wasn't a great fit for her.
But let's be honest, the timing of Wilson's announcement raised some eyebrows. It felt like she was saying, "Hey, don't forget about me. I'm a big deal too." And fans definitely started to notice the difference in how Clark and Wilson handled things. Clark made her decision quietly, with no fanfare. She didn't need to shout about being offered $1 million. She simply said no and moved on.
Quote, "I believe they offered more than Caitlin Clark because I know what they offered A'ja. They have a lot of money, and they offered her a lot of money. And I was even like, oh, you sure you don't want to do this? But I also understand that she really values the offseason. That's where she has risen her game." And it talks about the fact that when she comes back from the offseason, that she's better. A'ja Wilson's better at her game.
But Wilson? She made sure everyone knew about her decision. It almost seemed like she wanted to be the center of attention in a story that wasn't even about her. Can you imagine being in a room with both of them right now? The tension would be through the roof.
It almost comes across like A'ja wanted it out there that she was going to get more because of all the attention Clark received. And I got news for you. Unrivaled is not dumb enough to have offered A'ja Wilson more than Caitlin Clark, unless they just thought that it was a sure guarantee she would take it, right? But either way, it doesn't compute.
This isn't the first time A'ja Wilson has caused a stir. Take her Nike shoe launch, for example. It wasn't just about some cool sneakers. It turned into full-blown drama. Fans went wild, accusing her of delaying other players' shoe releases just to steal the spotlight. Can you believe that?
According to sports business reporter Ethan Strauss, he reports Nike wants to prioritize A'ja Wilson, and it fears the optics of giving a rookie a signature shoe before an already established star who just won league MVP for the third time.
A'ja tried to play it cool, saying how much fun it was to design her shoe. She mentioned how much hard work it took, but also how fun it was, adding, "I have an awesome team trying to put my weird words into a shoe," which she described as, "I want the thing that goes the thing," and they'd respond, "Okay, we got it." But fans weren't buying it. They felt like she was just trying to make everything about her again. And it gets even crazier. Remember that winning isn't for everyone ad campaign. Talk about bad timing. A'ja dropped that line right before her team, the Aces, got crushed by the Liberty in the playoffs. It was like she was asking for trouble.
It's over. Obviously, this is a completely memeable offense, but the winning isn't for everybody. And then they go and it's the first time they lose. Like you release a winning isn't for everyone commercial.
Social media went wild, with fans roasting A'ja left and right. One even joked, winning may not be for everyone, including A'ja Wilson herself. Ouch, about to sting, right? You might be wondering, is A'ja doing this on purpose? Is she trying to stir up drama? It's hard to say, but one thing's for sure. She knows how to stay in the spotlight. It's like she can't help but be at the center of every controversy in women's basketball. The basketball world was buzzing, but not in the way Unrivaled had hoped. Instead of talking about their exciting new league, everyone was focused on these two superstars turning down their offers. Now, people are asking, what went wrong? How did Unrivalved's big plans fall apart so quickly?
Because the ratings are not going to be good for this thing. I mean, as soon as you count out Caitlin Clark, it's a wrap. All right, I don't know how you can have an Angel Reese on every single team, and it's not going to do any good. I mean, we saw that.
One thing's for sure, this whole situation has exposed some serious flaws in Unrivalved's strategy. They put all their hopes on two players, and both of them said, no thanks. Now, they're left trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what to do next. But with all this drama, the real question is, will anyone even care about their league anymore?
Now, look, guys, if that happened, we want to talk about this league having been doomed and DOA because Caitlin Clark's not going to play in it, nobody's going to watch.
Unrivalved's big plans for women's basketball are falling apart fast. They were so confident in signing Caitlin Clark and A.A. Wilson. But it all backfired when both stars said no. Now, the league is in a tailspin, struggling to stay relevant before they've even played a single game. Can you believe they didn't even have a backup plan?
If this financially is run this poorly, and they don't understand marketing, they don't understand ratings this badly, whether it's somebody with TNT Sports or the league or both, this league is hell. I don't. What's worse than being dead on arrival? I don't know what it could be, but this would be the dumbest decision ever.
The league's social media presence went from full of hype to outright embarrassing overnight, revealing just how unprepared they were for this setback. Fans are asking the tough questions. How can Unrivaled survive without its biggest stars? Will anyone even care to watch the games now?
Somebody said there's a section of Caitlin Clark fans that would have watched Unrivaled without her being a part of it, and they're risking turning those people off. Someone else said she's been used and her fans since she stepped foot in the W. That just doesn't stop. LOL, they know who brings in views and puts asses in seats.
This isn't just Unrivalved's problem anymore. The league's co-founders, Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, made big promises about lucrative contracts and player-friendly schedules. Now, everyone's wondering if they can actually deliver on those promises. Fans are calling out Unrivaled for its misleading marketing tactics, accusing the league of using Caitlin Clark to promote itself, only to cash in on the hype without offering anything real in return.
We'll see how Unrivaled does. Without Caitlin Clark, they could still succeed, but we know what it would have meant if they had secured her on one of those rosters.
So, what's Unrivaled doing now? They're scrambling, trying to prove they still matter in the women's basketball world. But let's be real, it's going to be an uphill battle.
There is no universe from a popularity and a draw standpoint where she is worth more than Caitlin Clark. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark. It's not on the same planet. And that's not to be disrespectful. That's just based on the metrics, the numbers, the attendance, the ratings, any way you can measure any of these things.
So, what do you think? Is this the end for Unrivaled, or can they turn things around? One thing's for sure, the world of women's basketball will never be the same after this. Can you believe what Caitlin Clark just did? She turned down $1 million deal, and it's shaking up the entire game. Her decision wasn't about the money. It's all about her long-term goals and the impact she wants to have on the sport. This move is setting a new standard for how players can take control of their careers. Fans are loving Clark's approach. They are praising her humility and focus, seeing her as a true leader who's not in it for fame or money. She's showing everyone what real success looks like in women's basketball, even outshining A.A. Wilson, the biggest name in the league.
And if she's, keeping it clear, I think that's something everyone should be able to respect.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Remember how A.A. Wilson reacted right after Clark's decision? Wilson made sure everyone knew about her big offer, and it came across in a way that was very different from Clark's quiet, no-fuss approach. Now, everyone's watching to see how this will reshape the future of women's basketball. Clark's decision is shifting the power dynamics in the sport, changing how players, fans, and even leagues think about women's basketball. Players are realizing they have the power to call the shots, focusing on their long-term goals rather than chasing short-term gains.